It's going to be a super chunky, messy bun beanie with a puff stitch, okay? And I don't have super chunky yarn, so what I'm going to be doing is I have some Red Heart yarn here. This is the this one is a medium 4, and I'm just going to be mixing it up with some other Red Heart yarn that I have in different colors. And I've decided to do blue and white because, well, blue is my favorite color. It's going to be really cute, don't worry. So I've chosen to use 2 strands together, and what I have is a 6mm J hook, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do my loop. I'll try not to talk too much because sometimes videos where people talk so much can be a little bit much. I'm going to chain 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to go ahead and go into the second chain from the loop, from the hook. And we're going to do single crochets. 1. Make sure you go through all the yarn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the initial one was chain 7, go into the second loop. Oops, messed up there. Do that last one again. So again, it's chain 7, go into the second chain from the hook, and then do 6 across. So you should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last one was 6. And then you're gonna chain 1, and then you're just going to be continuing to do 6. Okay, so now we're doing back loops only. Second chain from the hook. You see it right there. This is considered the first chain. Doing 1. Make sure to grab both yarns always. 2. And if you're back loop only, see that those 2, that blue and that white, is a back loop. 3, 4. Sorry, hit the camera. 5. And last one, 6. Chain 1, turn your work, back loops only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1, turn your work, and this is going to be creating the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yikes. Turn 1, turn your work. And we're just going all the way. At this point in time, I don't really count. I'm just counting 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1 and turn. Okay, and the reason why is this all depends on exactly how big you want your beanie. Do you have a large head? Do you have a medium head? Or do you have a small head? Or is your head like a child's head? You're going to be measuring it, and I will put the measurements on here. Depending on how big you want your hat. I'm going to be aiming for between 21 inches, which would be between a small and a medium. The last hat I made, I actually made it in a large size, thinking that my head was big, and my head was not big. So, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although I'd like to have a big head so I can be a genius. And then maybe play the stock market or something. So as you can see how that's coming out, it's kind of getting dim outside, so I'm gonna add a little light here. There we go. But as you can see, the color is so pretty when you put and it's nice and thick and chunky. So hopefully you'll continue this pattern. I'll do one more just to show you. Remember, the first chain 1 is 1, so you're going into the second one, chain 1, and you're going to be doing 6. 1, back loops only, always back loops only. 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one, 6. Chain 1, turn your work. Just continue, and it's going to create this ridge. And just keep on going. You don't have to count how many rows you're doing. Just keep going until you reach the size you want. It has to be in length. So now I have this. I'm going to be closing it together. And then we'll go into the first stitch, and then go into the first stitch on the back one. Grab the yarn, go through both stitches, and then through the loop. Okay. Now we're going to do it again. Go through the first stitch, go through the next stitch in the back, grab the yarns, go through all the way through. Go through the first stitch, go through the next stitch, grab the yarn, go through both stitches, and through. And again, into the next, into the next, grab the yarn, go through the stitch, go through the stitch, grab the yarn, and go through the last stitch, go through the last stitch, grab the yarn, and go through. So now it will be sealed. You're going to go ahead and tuck this in later on. Okay, and now you have your band. And now we're going to start on the top of the hat. That's going to be the band. I'm going to be switching colors because I don't want it to be all one color. So I am thinking about keeping the blue and then adding a gray. I have my gray yarn right here. Cut. This is I do. Everybody has their own way of doing this. I'm just gonna actually just go ahead and cut it. And then go ahead and grab these two and then go ahead and tie it off. There we go. And this I'm gonna weave in later on. Okay. Now I'm going to do a gray. Go ahead and pull the blue. Try to get it away from tangling up. And I'm thinking about doing a blue and gray. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really sure how it's gonna look. Now I've done the opposite where I've done blue with gray and then did white. And that was really pretty. So I'm kind of doing it backwards this time. Go ahead. This is how I like to start. I like to make my loop. I mean, everybody has their own way of doing it. Go ahead and make my little loop. And what I like to do, I'm gonna take this off, is find a nice little place to start. Get it in there. Grab my loops, pull it in, and then go ahead and chain, and then I like to tighten it. We're going to be doing puff stitches all the way around, so then do 1, 2, 3, 4, pull both yarns through, all of them, and then go ahead, tie it off, and that's my first puff stitch. We're going to be doing actually we're going to be skipping this first and going into all of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and pull both yarns all the way through. Oops. Gosh. It does get a little tricky with both yarns on there, but there we go. And then I'll go a little bit slower. Maybe you haven't done a puff stitch. Yarn over, in, grab the yarn, that's 1. Yarn over, in, grab the yarn, that's 2. yarn over, in, grab the yarn that's 3, yarn over, in, grab the yarn that's 4. Now you take the yarn and go through all of the loops. Tie it off, and that's a puff stitch. Now that we've learned the masters, you're going to be looking for these little holes here. You're going to skip this, go into that hole. Skip this, go into that hole. Skip this, go into this hole. That one's a little bit hard to see, but you just got this. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. Into the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. I'll see you continue this all the way around. Skip this, go into the next little hole. Okay. So I just made it all the way around, and now I'm just going to go right here into this chain that I made when I first started. So I'm going to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go ahead, go through all loops and chain. And then I'm just going to start up here, and it's going to go all the way around again. I'll just show you guys the first few of them. So we're just going into the chain now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go through all loops to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all loops. One, 2, 3, 4, and all loops. Okay, so I've done it 5 times around. I've just ended, this is where I kind of started. You can see that that's where I started the hook, the first one. And now what we're gonna do, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna start where it starts getting a little bit smaller. So we're going to go ahead and start 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 1 puff stitch. We're going to do 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. Thanks. 2 puff stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. This is our third one. Okay, so that's where we started right here. See, we got 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm sorry, we're going to be doing 4 of them. Oops. This is where we started. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, so this is where we're going to start making it smaller. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, like you're doing a regular puff stitch, but instead of closing it off, we'll grab the very next one, and we're not closing off. We got all those on our loop, and do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you have all this on your loop, and now we're going to close it off, go through all of these loops and make it tight so it looks like a a puff stitch here and a puff stitch here, but it's all closed together. And this is going to start making the top of the hat kind of closing in. We're going to do 4 puff stitch and then one of these double. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. That's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close it off. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close it off. That's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through all the loops, close it off. That's 4. And now it's the double. So 4 and one of these double ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead of closing it off, we go grab the next one and do another 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you have all these on your loops. And you're going to go and pull it all the way through and tie it off to chain it close. And now we're going to do 4 again, 4 puff stitch and then one of those doubles. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. Oops. That's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. That's 4 of them. And now we're going to do one of those double thingies. 1, 2, 3. Oh shoot. 4. And then before we close it off, we have all these on our loop. And do the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we can pull it all the way through. Puff stitch seems hard when you first start crocheting. After a while, you're just like so used to doing them. And we're doing another 4 regular puff stitches and then one of those doubles. Instead of going, okay, well, how many do I have now? Okay, so this is the beginning of the next one right here. So I'm just going to start like I'm starting all new. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then one of those doubles. Before I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a double. So it was 4 and a double. Now I'm doing 3 and a double. And the next row is going to be 2 and a double. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1. Just going to go ahead and start counting on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, well, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, makes, that's 3. Now I'm going to do my double. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now grab the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these through, and there we go. Okay, so we are now on the row, the 2 and a double, so we do 1, we're doing, there's 1 puff stitch, there's 2, this is 2 puff stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 2 regular puff stitches, 1, 2, and now we're going to do a double. So we're now doing 2 puff stitches and a double. 4, and then while all of these are on our hook, go ahead and do another one on this one. 2, 3, 4, and then pull it all the way through. Continue all the way around. 2 puff stitches and a double. Now we've reached the beginning of our row, so this is where I started, this is where I closed it off, and that's where I started my first. So I've just completed the last two puff stitches and a double, and now I'm just going to close. I want this to close off to be 1 here, because when you start the next row it's kind of going up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch right into this next loop like that, and then just bring them together. Okay, now I have this little hole here. You're probably wondering how I'm going to close that off. This is where I like to put my colors and I start putting them together, so I'm going to go ahead and close this off. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I like to cut it where it's long enough so I can weave it in and make sure that everything's tight, nothing slips out. So a nice long yarn, and I always do this with everything that I do. So I'm actually going to make all of this secure, so I'll go ahead. It seems like it's not that secure right now. Actually, this is what I like to do. I like to take this, slip one over into this like hole, and then pull it out from the other side. That way one is this way and that one is wrapped through here and around. And then I go ahead and like knot it and then knot it again. I'm going to weave it in, or later on, but I like to just do that just to make sure it's secure. Everything's going to be hidden anyway because this is going to be inside. So go ahead and stick that in there like that. There. And so now it's starting to get more tighter on the top. At this point in time, what I'm going to do is, I'm sorry if my camera keeps on messing up here. I'm trying to get this stable here. There we go. I want to grab my blue and white like I had in the beginning, just because I want the balance of colors. So I'm going to go ahead and make my, I always like to give a nice long piece here so I can do whatever I want to do. If I want to tighten it, I want to weave it in. It's better to have a little extra than have something short and you're like, oh man. So there we go. Make my loop thingy. And now that my loop is ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and start it. I always just like to start it right where I finished it off. So I go ahead and put that in there, stick that through there, and then grab my loop through here, and slip my loops through, and go ahead and chain it. There we go. Now I can stick this long piece in, because we're going to weave that in later. There we go. And I have my first. So what I want to do now is I'm going to just go through each loop and just do a single crochet. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to go through that first hole. And I'm going to go in through the next chain. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to skip this one and go in here. Okay, so 1, 2, I'm hitting every single chain, 3, skip 1, and then go into the next hole. So 3, skip 1. 1, 2, 3, oops, 3, I'm trying to see over my camera, so crap. And then we're going to skip 1 and go here. Okay, so now I've made my way all the way around, and this is where I started. And the thing to lock those two together, all you have to do is slip knot it. Slip stitch, I mean. Grab it and slip stitch and make it tight. See that? So now it looks like the colors will blend in together. There it goes. The camera's going a little out of focus. And I have that white on the top. And at this point in time, I just like to make it a little tighter, so I'm going to do where I go into the back loop and then out of the next loop. So I go in through the back, out through the next chain, and then go ahead and do a single crochet. That's 1. Go into the one I just came out of, go out to that one, grab it, and a single crochet in through this one, out through that one. And right now I'm just kind of getting fancy. I just want a pretty little pattern up here. In, out, single crochet, back, through, single crochet, and go all the way around. Okay, so I have just made my way all the way around, I think. So right here, this is where I slip stitch to make them line up. Sorry, I'm looking over my camera so I can't see the cameras in my face. There we go. So that makes the pattern line up better. And so now I've got this small hole here. Now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this off. Where's my scissors? And then go ahead and pull it through. Fasten it off. There we go. And this actually is going to be tucked in again. Okay, so I just fastened this part off, and I'm tucking everything in. Right. Now you're going to have all these loose strings everywhere. I think crocheting is super fun, but dealing with all the looseness at the end is the worst part. So that is how I came up with that. If you like that. My camera goes in and out of focus, so there we go. now we're gonna fasten off some stuff. So what we're gonna do is turn it inside out because all of the strings are all over the place. Go ahead and grab your yarn needle. Now I have it inside out. All of these should not be showing. I like to do this. Grab one, since I'm using double the yarn. Grab one of these, stick it through somewhere other than the other yarn that you have it next to, and then I'm going to, sorry about that, tie it like that and tie it again, and that way that line is kind of secure. I have one here too that I did not secure yet, so I like to separate them from each other. Take one of them, go into another area of my crochet, and then tie them together. This was actually the white and blue that was actually together originally, and so if I stick one in another area and tie it, it'll secure them both where nothing slips. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start weaving it, and I do this with all of them. So I'll go ahead and start weaving it in, where you just basically start pulling it into the crochet at other points of your work, so that it just, all it does is really is secure the yarn so that it doesn't start coming loose. And because I do sewing too, I have this habit of doing the old-fashioned sewing knot, where you take your yarn and you have your yarn in there, and then you go ahead and 1, 2, 3, and then pull through, and see, it creates a knot, and that way it doesn't come loose, and then I'll weave it through my work, because then I have a knot and I know this is not coming out anywhere at all, because there is a knot there. And I'm weaving it through my work now. Okay. So I just completed making the messy bun beanie, and so I guess you can put your hair up in a bun and put like little ponytails on the side. I saw a video of someone doing a messy bun like that, but I guess there's different ways you can wear your messy bun, and I like it. I wouldn't even mind if, instead of doing 6 single crochets around, doing 7 single crochets and making it one more chain longer. So instead of chaining 7, chaining 8 and then doing 7 crochets, and make it a little bit longer. But I mean, otherwise it's cute. I like it. I like to have thick bands anyway, so this would be a normal band, I guess. And please like my video if you like it, and subscribe.